If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Welcome in to a brand new edition of the Saturday Show. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Alex Napoles. Sitting alongside me is Christian Esparza. Christian, how we doing, man, on this beautiful Saturday morning?
Oh, dude, I'm doing great. It is a very beautiful day outside. It's been a very nice last couple of days. It's supposed to get real hot next week. I've seen
starting to get warmer finally.
Could have some days in the 90s next week, and then it'll cool back down, but
that's Utah spring for you.
I love the spring. I really do. And when it's nice the way it is outside, like I left to come into the studio, there were people running outside, a lot of people on walks. Like, this is what spring's about, man. And then you drive past the park and you got the little kids playing soccer or baseball out there. And it's springtime, man.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Absolutely. I'm curious to get the temperature and the gauge of people and how everybody's feeling, because tomorrow could be a massive franchise transforming day for the Utah Jazz.
Why? What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow is the NBA Draft Lottery. It is a massive, massive day coming up here for the Utah Jazz and Utah Jazz fans. And so if you're joining us here on this beautiful Saturday morning, jump into the YouTube comments. Let us know how you're feeling about tomorrow's Draft Lottery. Hit us up on Twitter, at NapolisAlex, at Esparza Sports. And let us know how you're feeling about the Utah Jazz and their
Let's do it.
NBA Draft Lottery chances
And
tomorrow.
also, let's have some fun on like the Tankathon draft website, or ESPN as a draft lottery simulator that I really like.
Yeah.
The ESPN one is cool because it kind of goes pick by pick the way that the actual lottery does.
Yes.
And it starts from the bottom and goes to the top. That ESPN one is really cool. So, yeah, if you want to have some fun, like, run that lottery a couple times and tell us how many times it takes for you to get to the Jazz to number one, or maybe do it once and tell us your results. I ran it one time the other day. The Mavericks won.
You want to know something? You want to know something?
The Jazz
absolutely,
were like 6th or 7th, so that would be terrible.
You want to know something absolutely wild? Lloyd Cole is my witness. So the day that Ben Anderson, or your guy Ben Anderson, posted the ESPN simulator,
that's the day I did it too.
I ran it once. Jazz number one.
There you go.
And I didn't touch it again.
Oh, Alex.
Didn't touch it again.
I hope you haven't washed your socks.
I want to say Wednesday this week. Scotty and Tim, on Scotty and the Coach, they've also been running some of the Tankathon simulator. I did it once. Jazz first place.
Woo!
Yesterday, I did it again. Just did it the one time. Jazz.
Oh, dude,
first
you gotta stop.
place.
Okay, don't do any more.
3 for 3.
Don't do any
3
more.
for 3. Lloyd Cole is my witness, and
that's crazy.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. There's good energy out there for the Utah Jazz, and so again, everybody, hit us up on the YouTube stream, in the YouTube comments. Hit us up on Twitter, at NapolisAlex, at Esparza Sports. And let us know how you're feeling, because it is a monumental day coming up here for the Jazz tomorrow with the NBA Draft Lottery.
And real quick, want to mention with that, we are going to have a live NBA Draft Lottery show hosted by Ben Anderson and Chandler Holt, our two Utah Jazz insiders, produced by yours truly. That's going to go right at 1, concurrent with the actual draft lottery. And, the funny part is we don't have an end time. Like, it could go an hour, but, if the Jazz end up getting a really good pick, might go an hour and a half or 2, depending on how psyched we are about what happens tomorrow. So
Absolutely.
I remember the lottery last year, dude. It was crazy. It actually, coincidentally, it was on my birthday last year. And my wife and I went out to lunch or something, and we were done eating. I get in the car. I'm like, oh, I got to tune into the draft lottery show. I tune in, and I just tell in the tone of their voices, they were just absolutely defeated.
Yeah,
they did like a round table show. You were producing it.
Yep, I was producing it.
And it was Ben and Scotty and I think Alex Curie, right?
And JJ.
And JJ, right, yeah. And they, I just tuned in and they just sounded like they got the worst news in the world. And they basically did, because they found out the Jazz were dropping from 1 all the way to 5, like the worst case scenario.
We threw it to the feed, right? So you can kind of hear things as it was happening live. We threw it to the feed, and then so I was listening to the guys, in the background, and Ben was kind of walking it through, and he was essentially, I can't remember what team popped up, and Ben was like, if this next pick up here coming up here is so-and-so, the Jazz are in real trouble.
Falling, yeah.
The Jazz are in real trouble. Sure enough, it's the team that he had said.
Yeah.
And you can hear
like
the
Hawks or
collective,
something,
you can hear the collective groan in the background from everybody that was at JCW's last year with that round table.
Right, because it was like a watch party.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, you see the Jazz pop up at 5, and then you even more groans, and I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, hopefully the Jazz have better luck tomorrow.
Yes. So you can tune in tomorrow live, 1:00. That will go live with Ben Anderson, Chandler Holt. And you can tune in and see where the Jazz will land and where the Jazz will end up picking for this upcoming NBA draft. As far as what the Jazz can do and where the Jazz go, I'm very excited to know where they're going to pick and where they're going to end up. So you can really hone in on a couple of prospects, right? Because now, everybody's talking about Darren Peterson, everybody's talking about AJ DeBonsa, everybody's talking about Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, whoever it may be, but it really just comes down to where the Jazz are gonna land, because I don't want Jazz fans to get excited about the potential of AJ DeBonsa or the potential of Caleb Wilson if they end up falling all the way down to 6, because the reality is that those guys aren't gonna be there. So I am excited to finally find out where the Jazz are gonna pick, so you can start honing in on the prospects that the Jazz realistically have a chance of getting wherever they land, right? And find out after you find out where they're gonna be, and then focusing on those prospects, and then from there you just wait for the actual draft.
Well, it's interesting, too, because there's obviously a really clear drop-off between, the top 4 prospects and then whoever's going to be on the board 5 through 8. And I guess I shouldn't even call it a drop-off, because this is still a very good draft, 5 through 8. Don't get it twisted. But the top 4 prospects are guys that in any other class would probably go number 1 overall. Each of these 4 guys, like these 4 players, AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, any of those 4 guys can go in and be the face of the franchise of whoever is drafting them, Utah Jazz included, right? So there's that. And then if you're 5 through 8, there's still some very good players that are going to be available. Keaton Wagler, Kingston Fleming, some of these other, it's a lot of guards in that area. So that's where it gets interesting to me if the Jazz are to fall out of the top 4, because they seem to have found their starting point guard in Keontae George. They really like Isaiah Collier off the bench. My question to you, Alex, if that happens, if they fall, why would you want to pick there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the Jazz should trade that pick. If they end up 5, 6, 7, or 8, why would you draft somebody who's not going to see the floor as much, because you've already got Keontae George and he's doing his thing and breaking out? And is it a for sure thing that Keontae has arrived? No, not necessarily. But in my opinion, you look at a guy like Keaton Wagler, very, very skinny guy. He's got tremendous shooting ability, played really well for Illinois, got them farther in the NCAA tournament than I thought they were going to go. Final 4 run, right?
Yes.
But he's small, he's skinny. You think of Cody Williams, like he's a dude that's going to need at least 2 years to grow into an NBA body. Now he's a much better shooter than Cody Williams is, so he at least could theoretically hit open threes as a rookie. But I don't know, man. Obviously, it depends on what offers are on the table too, but if the Jazz are picking 5 through 8, I almost feel like with the way that their timeline is set up now after trading for Jaren Jackson Jr., they'd be better off trading that 5 through 8 pick for somebody who can help you win right now, because that's what your window is.
That's an interesting way to look at it because I didn't even really think about trading away the pick.
It's hard to think because this is like the last year of the tank, right? And generational draft, right? And all this stuff that we've been so excited for this draft, looking back for however many years now, right? But then you get here and it's like, yeah, trade the pick. So I see what you mean.
Yeah, to your point though, like if you look at the 5, 6, 7, and 8 spots, wherever the Jazz may potentially land come tomorrow, you look at all those spots. I got a couple of mock drafts pulled up here on the computer right now, and I'm looking at it, and everybody from that 5 to 8 spots are either point guard or shooting guards. Yeah, and it seems like the Jazz right now are pretty set at the guard position.
I would say the one weakness of this Jazz roster, well, there's 2 real big weaknesses. One is defense.
Yes.
And that's hard because they've been losing on purpose the last few years. So once Will Hardy says, okay, it's go time, it's time to win, and you add the addition of Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, can you really just flip that switch, though, and automatically end up...
I think some players, yes. Some players, no. Like Kyle Filipowski's probably never going to be a very good defender. Keontae George, I don't know how good of a defender he can be. But guys like Ace Bailey, guys like Lowry, guys that at least have the size and the physical tools. Obviously, Jaren Jackson Jr., that's 3. And then you bring back Walker Kessler. That's 4 of your 5 starters that are plus defenders, right? Yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of beside the point because the other main weakness of this Jazz roster is straight up shooting. I mean, you've got guys that can win with their size because of Lowry and Ace Bailey and how big they are for their position, right? Keontae George, when he's hot, he can be a tremendous shooter. But I think they just need like straight up shooter. Like think Bryce Sensabaugh, but without the cold streaks. Think of last year, Con Knipple, right?
Yeah.
If the Jazz were in the position to draft Con Knipple this year, that would be a tremendous fit for this roster because he fills a need. He fills... when your starting 5 is not out on the floor, who can come in and just light it up? And that's all they need to do. Almost like a Jordan Clarkson type, or even more of just a straight shooter. So you can't really get that with some of these guards that are on the board. And don't get me wrong, again, guys like Keaton Wagler, really good shooting ability, but it's kind of redundant to what they already have on the roster. Again, you could probably package that pick and go get a really, really good player.
Typically in these mock drafts, you see guys like Kingston Fleming, Keaton Wagler, Darius Hickov Jr., and Braden Burries pop up in those spots. But that's obviously again thinking worst case scenario for the Jazz, right? If they fall to 5, 6, 7, or 8, best case scenario would obviously be 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think if you end up even in that 4 spot, my eyes is on Caleb Wilson, man.
Oh, dude, I'd think about Caleb Wilson at 2.
All the way up at 2.
Yes.
Wow. To go back to your defense point, it seems like he has the most upside potential of being a two-way player, of a guy who can get you a lot on the offensive side of the ball, as well as coming back and being really, really great for you on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yes. So the problem with Caleb Wilson's fit with this Jazz roster is he's more of a 4, right? Mm-hmm. You've already got kind of a logjam there, but with his talent and with his size and with his defensive instincts, you're talking about basically a Jaren Jackson Jr. clone.
Yeah.
So that could be really, really fun. I think he is more of a can't miss guy.
Well, and then so yes, he's more of a Jaren Jackson Jr. But I mean, think about it this way, right? This isn't just a 2-year window that the Jazz want to open. This is a window that they want to extend down into the future.
Yeah.
And so if you bring in somebody like Caleb Wilson, who essentially is and plays very similar to a Jaren Jackson Jr. and has the potential to be a Jaren Jackson Jr. down the road, then you extend that championship window further than just 2-3 years. In my opinion.
Yeah, and that's like we were saying at the beginning. If they land in the top 4, they're getting a player that is going to be the face of their franchise within the next 3 years, right? So whether that is Caleb Wilson or somebody, I think all of these guys have a lot of upside. I think Caleb Wilson's got a really high floor. Cam Boozer, I don't know if I love, and I know that there's like local ties and stuff. Obviously, his dad played for the Jazz and is a scout for the team or whatever right now. I don't know if I love his style of play, and I don't know if I love that fit with the Jazz roster. But again, like, he's a good player. And if he's on the board, and the Jazz like him, then take him.
Yeah.
But then you've got the top two, obviously, AJ and Darren Peterson, that I think anybody would give up crazy things to get those top two picks.
And then obviously here locally, everybody wants AJ.
Yeah, and that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just think about it. I want the rigged allegations. I do.
AJ,
It's about time that something broke for the Jazz.
If the Utah Jazz can land the number 1 pick and AJ DeBonsa's on this roster, their window is open for a really long time, and immediately I would put the Jazz as one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the West.
Immediately. You know
okay,
what?
that's actually.
I have a hard time disagreeing with you.
I'm retracting it. I think a lot of it too comes down to Walker Kessler, and if they can get the Walker Kessler deal over the line and keep Walker Kessler around,
Okay.
I think a lot of it still hinges on that too.
And that's a whole different thing, right? Because there still is the possibility that somebody gives him a $40 million contract just because they know the Jazz can't match it, right? Mm-hmm. And so that very well could happen. But I do agree with you. I think if the Jazz, in a year from now, let's see, the Rockets were the 5 seed, the Lakers were the 4 seed, Timberwolves were the 6 seed. I'd put the Jazz probably on the same level as the Rockets.
I'd put them high. I'd put them a little bit up on the Rockets.
You think so?
Honestly. Well, if they get AJ DeBonsa, this is if they land the number 1 pick, and of course they can end up going off and drafting AJ DeBonsa, which would be the ultimate. I think the grand ultimate prize for the Utah Jazz and this Utah Jazz fan base. But if they do, if the lottery balls end up going the Jazz ways, they get the number 1 overall pick. They're not just a playing team. They're not just a playoff team. They're a team who can have some home court advantage down the stretch and down to the playoffs with a 4, and even possibly a 3, 4, 5 spot. That's where I'd put him.
How do you feel about Darren Peterson? What are your thoughts on him?
Funny you bring him up. Obviously, the big news this week is that Darren Peterson has blamed creatine for his cramping and everything that happened this season, right? And everything that him pulling himself out of games that have. During his time in Kansas, and that's the big story, right, leading up to the NFL draft lottery about Darren Peterson. You know, it's so funny because there are some mock drafts, specifically the ones that I've seen from Yahoo Sports, and they're putting this out there, and they're saying that Darren Peterson's going to fall. And Darren Peterson's going to fall to the Utah Jazz.
Well,
at 4 or 5.
That would be crazy, and you know what?
Imagine going back-to-back seasons where you have Ace Bailey, this dude who was going to be a top 2 or 3 pick. I can't remember exactly where he was projected, but someone who was going to go in the very early parts of the draft. He ends up falling to the Jazz, and I remember, people's collective sighs of the Jazz falling all the way down to 5th last year when they were the worst in the NBA. But the collective cheers when they drafted Ace Bailey, and Ace Bailey fell onto the lap of the Utah Jazz at 5th. Imagine going back-to-back seasons now where the Jazz can potentially, right? This is Darren Peterson, who coming into this season was projected the number 1 overall pick on everybody's mock draft, right? Heading into the college football season this past year, everybody had Darren Peterson at number 1. Now imagine in a situation where the Jazz do end up, in the 4th, 5th spot, and as Yahoo Sports is projecting on their mock drafts, Darren Peterson falls to the Utah Jazz. You go back-to-back years where you have somebody who's arguably in that 1-2 spot fall to you. That's phenomenal. But a very long shot. I think.
And I don't even care about the odds. How do you feel about Darren Peterson in general? You still feel comfortable taking him?
I'm on the fence about Darren Peterson.
Because
I know he's blaming the creatine. I know he's saying that his cramps and everything was led to, I guess, the mismanagement of creatine. But I still don't know if you can trust him coming into an 82-game NBA season.
Exactly. And that's my big pause, right?
And I think that's going to be everybody's pause come draft night.
So, originally the story came out a couple months ago that he had a really bad cramping episode during their training camp or whatever, their hell week. And throughout the regular season, anytime that he would feel a cramp coming on, he would essentially have basically a panic attack because he was so worried about cramping up as bad as he did during that hell week, during that preseason workout. And then it comes out yesterday that apparently he naturally has higher level of creatine in his blood already. So when he took the recommended dosage. He exceeded the amounts of creatine that you should already have. And throw on top of that, when you take creatine, you're supposed to drink a crazy amount of water anyways, because for those that don't know how creatine works, it pulls water into your muscles. It's a good thing, right? It's a natural supplement. A lot of athletes take it. It pulls water into your muscles, and it helps them kind of perform the way that they need to do. But because of that, you need to drink a lot of water. And if you don't drink a lot of water, you start cramping. And so you add that onto his already naturally high levels of creatine. And he said he had never taken it before, and he started taking it during this hell week. So he gets these crazy bad cramps. He had to go to the emergency room, get these IVs. And that kind of gave him PTSD throughout the entire season. You saw the clips, right, of him tapping out of games because he could feel cramps coming on. I have a hard time believing that he's just going to leave that at Kansas, right? I have a hard time believing that once he gets to the NBA, and as you bring up, you get to an 82-game season, how can you feel comfortable that he's going to trust his own body? And maybe it's something that he can work with the sports psychologist to figure out, right? Or with the athletic training staff. And I hope that he can overcome this. But we're talking about, if you get the number 2 or 3, or I guess if you have the 4th pick and Darren's there, I'd take him. But if you have the 2 or 3 and you're picking between Darren Peterson and Cam Boozer, or Darren Peterson and Caleb Wilson, that's where you really got to think about this, because you are taking a huge risk in again, generational draft. You're probably never going to see a draft like this again, at least not for a very long time. And knock on wood for the Utah Jazz, they're not going to be in this position again for a very long time. So you got to make the most out of whoever you're picking, whether that's Darren or AJ or Cam or Caleb. You got to take everything into consideration. And the mental toughness aspect of it, man, I'm really worried about that.
Yeah. This is why I believe that being, a general manager of a sports franchise is one of the most stressful jobs, is the most stressful job when it comes to, the sports landscape and everything that comes along with sports, because decisions like this make or break careers for head coaches, for you as a general manager, for franchises, right? And so if you're in 2nd or 3rd and you're debating over Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, like that is a franchise altering decision. And if you make the wrong decision, that's you. That's you.
That's on you. That's your reputation.
You. Right. And so when you look at a situation like this, where you have Darren Peterson, who the questions coming into the draft, right, about his health, about now with this creatine stuff, when you have Cameron Boozer there, who had a phenomenal season at Duke, Caleb Wilson, who we were talking about earlier, who I think is who has really, really high potential to be a phenomenal two-way player in the NBA. Who do you pick? Well, how do you make that decision? And so you rely on people like your scouting department, right? And you have people who evaluate these guys throughout the course of the season to make sure that you pick the right guy. Because if you don't, especially in this draft, where you have franchise-changing players all across the board at those top spots, and you make the wrong decision, that's on you. And that's why I think that being a general manager and having to make this decision is one of the most stressful jobs that you can have in the sports landscape.
Yeah, you don't want to be the GM who took Darko Milicic when Carmelo Anthony and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade go right after.
Right.
That's the ultimate, who the heck is that freaking clown that made that move? And so that's like, you're right. It's so very stressful, but it's also so very exciting, because you have in your mind, if you nail this pick, you're out, man. I mean, we've been talking about the light at the end of the tunnel ever since the Jazz made the trade for Tripp. We've been talking about the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, starting tomorrow, you're going to know where the Jazz are picking. And then when the draft comes up in June, then it's over, man. And you don't have to worry about losing basketball games anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy how important tomorrow is. And it really is wild to think of the wide range of outcomes that it could have, because you mentioned how high the ceiling is for the Jazz immediately if they draft AJ DeBonsa, and if that pick falls all the way to 8, as low as it can possibly go. Again, there are going to be players on the board that they could potentially take and still feel comfortable taking, or they can trade it to go get a good player who can help you win some games right now. But it's not the same feeling of, oh my gosh, we just got AJ DeBonsa.
Right. As far as the draft lottery goes, I think that there's a couple teams in here that are in the mix for the draft lottery that have probably had enough luck. I'm looking at you, OKC Thunder. I'm looking at you, Charlotte Hornets, even though you haven't really done anything with moving up in the draft. And then I'm looking at you, Atlanta Hawks, who just had the number 1 pick, jumping up from 10, Christian, back in 2024. You look at the Jazz, you look at the Pacers, you look at the Grizzlies, who have never picked number 1 overall.
And spare me with the Pacers. They were just in the finals. I don't want to. If the Pacers win,
but they haven't picked number 1 overall.
I don't care.
I'm saying I'm throwing this in this because they've never picked number 1 overall.
This is an NBA Finals team.
Right.
Tyrese Halliburton was out for the year, so they decided to just sit everybody. Right. That's different than what the Jazz did, who completely tore down their roster and are building everything from the ground up. The Pacers are already a very, very good basketball team. And if you award them the number 1 pick, that is everything that's wrong with this stupid system, the way the NBA does it.
Exactly.
So Indiana, I don't want to hear it. Sacramento, they don't deserve the number 1 pick because they're a terrible franchise. We'll get to them in technical fouls. There was a crazy soundbite going around.
But think about the Sacramento Kings jumping up over the Utah Jazz after
they
the
lose
coin flip happened happened a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. It's so sickening.
That would be wild.
Dallas, heck no.
I can't help but shake the feeling that the Memphis Grizzlies,
I'm worried about Memphis, bro.
or the Golden State Warriors,
Yeah.
are gonna find some
Oh,
luck.
I told you last week or 2 weeks ago that no, the Grizzlies are going to get the number 1 pick for trading away Jared Jackson Jr.
Yeah,
you
did say it.
Just like the Dallas Mavericks did with Cooper Flag.
You did say it.
And
then
Luka.
the Golden State Warriors right now are in a situation where you have all your stars that are aging out, and they need a new star to replace them.
I could see that, but with Steve Kerr's future there being so uncertain,
Right.
and like how relevant were the Warriors before this dynasty? I mean, they were semi-relevant, but they're not like a golden boy of the NBA. Like, it's not like the Heat, right? You know, where they kind of always want a star in Miami, or the Lakers, obviously, or the Knicks. I mean, Golden State's kind of just there, and they were a very, very good dynasty, but it's over. Let's let them rest.
I think if
It's time for Utah, baby.
I think if the Thunder, if the Mavs, if the Hawks, and the Kings somehow end up, moving up or whatever, I think there will be a collective groan from the state of Utah asking for some more validation of this lottery.
If the Thunder end up top 4, I'm never watching an NBA game again.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you.
I'm sick of them already.
They're probably going to win an NBA championship, and if they end up, finding some luck and moving up in this lottery, that would be insane.
BS.
Insane. All right, we got to take a break here on the Saturday show. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, it looks like the college basketball tournament is expanding. It's already official. How long will it take before college football can expand to 24 teams? We'll jump into that and much more here on the Saturday show. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning. Alex Napoles and Christian Esparza walking you through the week of sports that was here in the state of Utah and across the landscape of all sports. And so we'll jump into here the expansion talk for both basketball and football, Christian, because it was announced earlier this week that it is finally official. The NCAA has decided to expand the NCAA tournament for both the men's and the women's side. and they're now up to 76 teams, and that starts up this upcoming season in 2027. I think this is just obviously a money grab, right? We have more games on TV. You can sell more tickets to arenas, etc. But ultimately, I don't like the fact that they're expanding to 76 teams, because you're just going to allow, sub 500 teams from the SEC and the Big Ten to make it in. Whereas you had a team like UVU who lost, 2-3 games this season, and they still won't have a spot in the tournament, even with the expansion now.
And that's the crappy part about what they're doing, right? Because if they did it to allow more teams like
more
UVU
spots,
in,
more spots for the big guys and less spots for mid majors.
I just want to see my T-Birds in the tournament, bro.
How did the T-Birds do this season?
Thunderbirds are go.
That's funny.
That's a good one, Parker.
I don't want to talk about it, but they used to be good. They were good when I was there.
Yeah.
COVID year, man. Whew, what could have been?
What was it? Todd Simon, right? Those teams, yeah, they were fun to watch.
Bringing me back.
Yeah, they were fun to watch.
No, this is, I don't know. Again, ideally, you'd see more of the G6 teams get in that quote unquote deserve it. But at the same time, what does some random person across the country, what do they care about UVU, right?
Right.
They're not going to care. And
at the end of the day, it's not going to draw the viewership that.
Right.
Unfortunately, a sub 50 or sub 500
team is going to get.
Auburn, right, is going to get.
And I get it, but I to be honest with you, Alex, I think people are more upset about this than they need to be. Just don't watch the games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an advocate for it by any means.
I'm a basketball sicko, though, dude. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching the whole thing.
And you know what? Texas was in the first four, or whatever they call it.
Yes.
Last year, and they won a couple games.
Yeah,
they did good.
They did a good run. They beat Gonzaga. They beat BYU.
Yeah. So, again, that's why they do this, because you never know who can get in the tournament and win games, whether that is, a Texas team that finished 500 in the regular season or a UVU team that won the WAC regular season and barely lost their tournament or whatever. There's always going to be teams that nobody is expecting to win games simply because you didn't watch them, because there's 300.
Rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
How are you going to allow the upsets to happen? How are you going to let the Cinderella stories to happen? I mean, the tournament's already been the chalkiest, I feel like, that we've ever seen it over the course of the last 2 years, or And is
that expansion's fault or is that NIL's fault?
Oh no, that's NIL's fault.
And that's NIL's fault, right? That's a completely different conversation.
But I'm saying you're not allowing these, you're not allowing the UVUs who just barely missed out because they missed they didn't make it, they didn't win their conference championship despite having a tremendous season, and you're not allowing those Cinderella stories to potentially happen and by giving them the chance that they probably deserve to be there as far as having that solid of a season, even though you are a mid-major. Whereas, everybody was arguing about Auburn this past year, and Auburn was not great in SEC play. But yeah, everybody was trying to get Auburn into the tournament.
Yeah.
Specifically, the former Auburn head coach, who is now on the CBS sports desk.
Well, and his son is the current.
And his son is the current.
I think that's what matters more. Yeah. Look, I totally get that point. I do. And at the end of the day, as you brought up earlier, this is just all about money because the SEC draws eyeballs.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people here in Utah don't care about the SEC, and I particularly don't either. And I'm not supporting this because it makes them money. I don't care how much money they make. I'm just saying that they're always going to follow the money. And that's the way that college sports has changed over the past, dramatically over the past 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they have the college football playoff, which we'll talk about in just a second, and why you never know how many teams that's going to stop expanding at. It's just a cash grab because if, again, to use Texas as an example, if Texas is up or Auburn is up playing, that is always going to draw more eyeballs nationally than if, Miami, Ohio were playing. Yeah. And I'm using them because of their situation last year where they were undefeated all the way up until their conference tournament, and they ended up losing, right? But they still ended up making the tournament over Auburn. and they lost right away.
Right.
And I'm not saying Auburn would have won, but I don't know. It's just that's the way this works. Like college sports has always used these student athletes to make money. The NCAA makes money. That is their point.
Follow the money.
That is, and basketball is never going to make as much money as football, but the NCAA tournament is watched by everybody.
Right.
Everybody.
Everybody gets in on the brackets. Everybody gets in on the, the excitement. There are non-sports people. There are non-sports, fans that will even go through and fill out brackets.
So adding more games makes them more money.
Everybody's doing it, and everybody tunes in for even that first Thursday and Friday, man. Everybody watches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Adding more games makes them more money, and putting recognizable brands makes them even more money.
Right.
So it sucks that that's the way it is, but that's the way it is.
To look at it from the football perspective, there was a report that came out this week about their expansion and how the college football playoff expansion might look going forward, and that is the American Football Coaches Association. They have met and they have recommended to move the college football playoff bracket to the maximum number of teams, which should move up to 24. Get rid of conference championship games. No more conference championship games. Just immediately head into the playoff bracket once the season is over. And then those who obviously don't make it, head into your bowl games or whatever. So that way you can end the season earlier. The second week of January is where they want to end it. And that way you can...
that would be nice.
That way you can protect the Army-Navy's exclusive window, right? And they can still do their thing. And also start the season, obviously, a little bit earlier. So instead of having a week 0, just make that week 1, and then everybody
Week
plays.
0 has always been stupid anyways.
Yeah. So that's what the American Football Coaches Association wants. So you have head coaches of college football programs who are fully on board with the 24 teams, get rid of the conference champions, and start the season a little bit earlier. So that way you can end it a little bit earlier. That might also help with transfer portal, right? The dates of the transfer portal might help you... might help teams not be in a situation where you're heading to your bowl game and everybody's in the portal, the way that some programs have been the last couple of seasons, and you kind of help delegate you kind of help fix the calendar problem that is college football right now.
It's funny that obviously you hear the coaches are pushing for this, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a big story that the Coaches Association is pushing for this. The coach's opinion doesn't really matter.
How much power do the coaches really have?
Close to nothing,
right.
I would imagine.
Right.
I honestly don't think, the powers that be, the scheduling powers that be, they're like, oh, cool, yeah, we'll think about it, and then like immediately, resume their conversation with whoever they were just talking to. Like,
right.
Oh, yeah, cool, leave me alone, I don't think they don't care what the coaches think, and to be honest with you, I could see why the coaches would want to get away with the conference championship games because they don't matter anymore. And I'll tell you right now, that's sad. That's really sad.
They really don't, and that's the unfortunate part, right? I mean, look at this here for example: Georgia, Alabama in the conference championship game.
Yes,
right. Alabama loses; they get blown out by Georgia in the SEC championship. Yet Alabama still makes it into the college football playoff. The Big 12 championship, BYU gets blown out.
That's where I was going to go.
Texas Tech. And BYU gets left out.
Like, they don't matter, but they matter way too much at the same time.
Exactly.
So I would totally understand why, and I have no idea.
For as much as the committee says we're not going to punish teams for playing in a conference championship,
they turn around and do it.
They still do.
I have no idea if Kalani Sitake is part of this coaches association or whatever, but I could totally see why, if you asked Kalani Sitake if they should get away with the Big 12 championship game based off of what happened last season, I could totally see why he would say yes. Now, as a competitor, I don't think Kalani would actually want to do that. I'm just saying because of what happened to the Cougars last year, I would get why they want to get rid of conference championships. But it's just, it's heartbreaking to me, man, to see that these conference championship games don't matter anymore because of the Big 12 or because of the college football playoff.
Right.
Because the playoff almost seems like a pipe dream for, BYU and Utah because they're right there on I shouldn't say a pipe dream, but it's like that's the ultimate goal. But at the same time, if BYU were to have won the Big 12 championship last year,
they would be in.
That is a huge accomplishment. But it's so overshadowed by the playoff now that nobody cares.
Right.
And It used to be that was the highest honor you could achieve, was winning your conference championship game, because the playoff was reserved for certain teams. And theoretically, it's cool if the Utes and the Cougars have a shot to make the playoff. And I don't think they're that far off, to be honest with you, Alex. But you still need to keep those conference championship games important, because what's the point of having a conference then?
Right. As a person who watches the college football, right? As a person who consumes college football, and you know, I'm a fan of tradition. I'm a fan of how things were and how things, how things used to be. And I enjoyed the conference championship games, and I think people should value conference championships more. And I think teams should value conference championships more, right? I think for, a team like, LSU, right? If they don't make it to the conference championship game, then and if they don't make it to the playoff, it's an automatic bust, and they don't care if they make it to a conference championship game or not. It's playoff or bust.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these big programs who just look at it as the playoff or bust, and it seems like, Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, and the people who actually, can make the decisions to make changes don't care about these conference championships as well anymore, and it's just playoff or bust for teams in their conference. Whereas you look at teams like in the ACC, and you look at teams in the Big 12, and to them it feels like the championship still means more.
It's crazy, man, how much is changing. And so I guess, do you think 24 teams is too much?
It is too much.
Is the basis of this question. Is 24 too much? Where do you draw the line?
I think
a lot of people think 12 is already too much.
I think 16 is where you should draw the line.
You think it should go to 16 from 12 and then stop there?
Yeah. You get rid of the buys, everybody plays everybody.
Is that because BYU and Utah were like 12 and 13?
No, that has nothing to do with that. No, I just think 24 is too much. And then you're allowing, a 4-loss SEC team to make it into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And does a 4-team SEC team really deserve to be there?
I just think and it's funny because we're not even at 16 yet. Let's get to 16 and see how that goes before we even think about 24.
It is wild to me that, you get to the playoff, you expand it to 12, and that's awesome, right? You go from 4 to 12, it's awesome, but now we want another major big jump without even seeing how 16 looks.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I think because of the way that the committee has selected these teams, and the way that the committee, has put maybe some non-deserving teams into the playoff, and some controversy, over the course of the last 2 years about the bracket, I don't even think we've really seen a successful 12-team playoff yet.
We have, because there's only been 2.
Right.
And that's what's funny. They're making changes after every single year based off of horrible decisions that they start with.
Right.
Right.
To give them credit, I did like the seeding change that they made. Right. Where you don't have a Boise State.
But that's what I mean, because that was a terrible idea in the first place.
Yes.
So they're getting rid of these terrible ideas, and then they're patting themselves on the back saying, oh, look how smart we are for making this change.
Maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe they knew it was a bad
and that's what makes me so upset.
Yeah.
Let's do something and stick with it before we freaking mess with it again. I'm sick of having to keep up with all this change every single year. Get to 16 and leave it for 5 years. Mandate that you can't change it for 5 years. And then let's see how it goes. Maybe that's the sweet spot.
Instead of turning around and immediately wanting to turn it to 24 teams.
Right.
We'll see what happens, man. I kind of do wish the coaches in this situation, right? This coaches association did have a little more power, did have a little more say, because I actually do like a lot of these ideas that they're proposing, specifically on the calendar, and specifically on the changes to the calendar, right? And wanting to end the season a little bit earlier, starting it earlier, and so then that way it can help with a lot of the calendar problems that I think college football faces right now. Because I will say I do like that. It is ridiculous that you have to wait 10 to 11 days to play your next game in a college football playoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Do it a week. Give it a week.
Yeah. How much time did Texas Tech have off?
Oh, I think they went about a month. Dude.
Yeah.
I think it was about a month before the championship game, and then their opening game against Oregon.
Yep.
I think it was about a month off. And see, stuff like that, that shouldn't be a thing.
No. That makes zero sense. And then you're to the point with these playoff games, and you're having over a week in between some of the rounds. It's so dumb.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break here on the Saturday show. Coming up next, let's jump into some technical fouls, some of the sillier, funnier stories and headlines of the week. That's on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It is the Saturday show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Welcome back to this Saturday show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is time for technical fouls here on your Saturday morning. Christian, start us off, man. You got some sound that you want to play with yours.
I came across this yesterday as I was prepping for Jake and Ben. And funny enough, this video has since been deleted. You'll probably understand why after I play it. But Tom Haberstroh from Yahoo Sports was doing a podcast with Kevin O'Connor. They were talking about the NBA Draft Lottery coming up and, you know, the possibilities of what could happen, right? And they were talking about the Kings. And I teased this earlier. Talked about the Kings being a terrible organization.
Right.
And they are. That's the truth. That's just fact.
Yeah.
But Tom Haberstroh says that if the Sacramento Kings win the lottery, that AJ DeBonsa will pull an Eli Manning. Let's hear it.
I think that AJ DeBonsa, if the Kings win the lottery, I think he will pull an Eli Manning. I think not ruling it out is not going far enough. And here's why I think this. This is a guy who went to BYU, got the money and all the power and all that at BYU, made the choice himself. And all of these athletes in the NIL era are used to having that agency. They are used to making the decision for themselves. In years past in the NBA, this was not the case. It was not the case that these players were getting paid and had the chance to make the decisions for themselves and dictate where they were going to go. And now in this era, I feel like we are headed towards a situation where you cannot be an incompetent organization and just luck your way into the number one overall pick and not having that variable looming overhead. And I think if it's AJ DeBonsa or Cam Boozer, whose father, Carlos Boozer, played long time in the NBA, I think the dynamics are shifting, and I would not be surprised at all. Whoever the Sacramento Kings, if they win the lottery, is going to have a hard time convincing that player to stay with that organization.
So there are two parts to this. First off, I low-key agree with what he's saying in the sense that if you are a quote-unquote generational prospect, why would you want to go play for the Kings? Because we've seen time and time again, a great player goes to a terrible organization and their career probably doesn't turn out the way it should have because the great player is not in an environment where they could succeed. So they get labeled a bust, when in reality, whose fault really is it? Guess we'll never know. But let me tell you what I don't like, Alex. He goes from speculating about it, and I cut this. They were speculating about it, and then you hear at the beginning of this clip, he says, I'll double down. I'll say that AJ DeBonsa will pull an Eli Manning. I don't like that at all.
Right.
Because it's one thing to speculate about it and say that a player should do this, or I could see why this would maybe happen, but it's a completely different thing
to speak it as fact.
To speak it as fact and act like he knows AJ DeBonsa.
Right.
I don't know AJ DeBonsa. This guy clearly doesn't know AJ DeBonsa because from everything we have heard about him, from everything that it, has been shown to us, this is completely against AJ DeBonsa's character.
I would agree.
Because you almost, when you say pull an Eli Manning, it's almost a bad thing. it's because that's when you bring up like entitled and, John Elway did the same thing, right? And how criticized was John Elway and Eli Manning for that matter? How criticized were they for doing this? And lucky for them, they ended up being good enough to have respectable careers. But like, imagine if Eli Manning never beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And people were talking about, you're an average player pulling this type of crap. And I don't think A.J. DeBonsa is going to be an average player. I think he's going to have a great NBA career no matter where he goes. But to put this on his character, I don't really like. Right. I think that's a weird thing for a media member to do because, again, I talk about going from speculation or bringing up a possibility to he straight up says, I'll say A.J. DeBonsa will do this.
Right. You put a negative light on his person right before the draft.
And that's what I mean. Like, it's not even that bad of a thing because I kind of agree with it.
Right.
But again, like when you bring it up, it's almost
to just put it out there as fact and say that, hey, he is going to pull an Eli Manning if the Kings draft him.
It's almost a negative thing, right?
Right. To his point and to your point, like I do agree that the Sacramento Kings are a really bad franchise. They find a little bit of success in that 23 season with Mike Brown at the helm.
Playoffs,
Right, they make the playoffs. They're division champs. Everyone's freaking out about Sacramento being back. And then within 2 seasons, Mike Brown is fired. They make terrible. I don't think they made the right decisions as far as the roster goes, and they put Mike Brown in a tough situation. And that's part of the incompetence of the that he's talking about when it comes to the organizational of the Sacramento Kings. But I don't agree with him about putting the negative light on A.J. DeBonsa's character because nothing that we've heard from him in interviews, nothing that we've heard from him, from down there in Provo to suggest that he would be anything like that. If anything, right, if the Sacramento Kings get the first round pick, A.J. DeBonsa seems like the type of guy to go head into the challenge rather and take it by the horns rather than I'm going to pull an Eli Manning and not end up in Sacramento.
Well, and funny enough, Ace Bailey was crucified for this last year, right?
Yes.
And whether it was him or his manager or handler or whatever that dude was, saying that he didn't want to go to any of the top 5 destinations or any of the teams that would be picking him 3 through 5. And the Jazz say, I call your bluff, I'll draft you anyways. And Ace Bailey's here, he's happy, and that idiot that he had as a manager or whatever is fired and long gone.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting to think about because it is a fine line between if a bad franchise gets the number 1 pick versus a place like Utah where the perception outside of the state of Utah isn't very warm. Not a lot of people want to come to Utah, at least as far as NBA players go, right? Of course, that's different this year with A.J. DeBonsa, presumably, and maybe Cam Boozer because of his dad. But it's like, if Darren Peterson were to still be the lock number 1 pick and then the Jazz win the lottery, or even if the Jazz take him at 3 or 4 or whatever, and Darren Peterson's like, I don't want to go to Utah, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And he actually doesn't. Like, that's a dangerous precedent because the point of the draft is for these teams to be able to get these really good players. And I know that the NIL era is creating a completely different level of athlete as far as mentality. And, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars by the time they're 18 years old. And it's a completely different athlete than what we saw 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, where they would just shut up and go to where they're drafted. And if they're not happy, they leave after 4 years, right?
Right.
You can't start that precedent. And that's why I think it was so important that the Jazz called the bluff on Ace Bailey last year, because they did their part to, keep that manager from winning and keep that from happening.
Yeah.
And I sit here and joke about the Sacramento Kings, but the truth is, they're a bad franchise, and you know what? If they win the lottery, they deserve a shot to go get a good player to help them get better. I believe that's the philosophy of the draft, and that's how it should work. You shouldn't let these athletes ever refuse to go somewhere in the draft just because they don't want to for whatever reason.
Right. You have to draw the line somewhere because then everybody's just going to do it, and then I mean, the new draft lottery reform is probably already going to be detrimental to small market teams. And then now, if you're setting the precedence of if somebody doesn't want to go to a small market team or somebody who doesn't want to end up in the bad situation, then the small market will truly be dead in the NBA.
Right.
Right. My technical foul, real quick, takes us over to Major League Baseball, and the Chicago Cubs already have a pretty significant injury situation when it comes to their pitchers. Well, how about starting pitcher Matthew Boyd, who now needs to go undergo surgery on his left knee to repair a meniscus injury because he was sitting down playing with his kids.
Oh, how old is he?
Put that down. Oh, that's a good question. Put that down as one of the weirder injuries to happen in baseball, right up there along with the guy who spent a little bit too much time in the tanning bed and couldn't play.
35 years old.
Ugh. A knee injury at 35?
Professional athlete. Like you're talking about even MLB, you think there's some pudgy dudes in the MLB, right? But to make it that far, you're like still top 1% of athletes, of people in the entire world. Yet you suffer a embarrassing injury. Let's just call it like it is.
He was sitting down playing with his kids. That's the worst part about this.
Like embarrassing injury as, that could happen to me or you or any other guy out there,
Right.
like any other normal dude.
If he was like, in the yard playing catch with his kids.
Yeah,
if he was running around,
wrong.
that's one thing, right? But the fact that he was like sitting down, I don't know if it was on a couch or a chair or wherever it was, but he was sitting and ended up injuring his knee.
Well, I hope the best for him.
Wish him a speedy recovery.
At 35, you never know.
Hey, let's jump in. Let's talk. Let's continue the NBA conversation going, talking some NBA playoffs, and we'll also dive into some NHL playoffs and that action that's happening in the NHL and their hunt for a Stanley Cup. That's coming up next here on the other side. On the Saturday show, it is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Welcome back into the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Napoles and Christian Esparza, thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning. Let's jump in and talk NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll start with NBA basketball, of course. And on Thursday, you had the Pistons, who took a 2-0 lead over the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have the Thunder, who took a 2-0 lead over the Los Angeles Lakers. And then yesterday, the Knicks taking a 3-0 lead over the 76ers. And then the Spurs making it 2-1 over the Timberwolves. So far, all heading towards sweep, Christian.
Well, all but one.
All but one.
But the Wolves could be a gentleman's sweep.
And that one I will say has been the most fun to watch so far.
The Timberwolves are so weird, man, because I mean you were talking earlier about, what seed the Jazz could potentially finish next season. You said they could be like 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah.
And you're looking, and it's the Timberwolves are the 6th seed right now.
But they play.
I think
way
better than the 6th
play
seed.
a lot better than the 6th seed.
And to be honest with you, if the Timberwolves were fully healthy, I'm talking fully healthy Ant, Dante DiVincenzo didn't tear his Achilles and all the other injuries, I truly think Minnesota would be leading the series against San Antonio. I really do think that. At least 2-1 in their favor,
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be up 3-0 or anything, but Timberwolves are a really weird team. How, they kind of just cruise through the regular season, and then once they get to the playoffs, they really turn it on. And Anthony Edwards, every year the past 3 or 4 years, the playoffs come around and he legitimately plays like the best player in the league. And I'm not even saying like top 3, top 2. I'd put him right up there against Shea, you know?
Right.
And the regular season, he's really good too. Don't get it twisted. But every year the playoffs come around and Anthony Edwards plays out of his mind and you're like, okay, this his breakout? And they can't quite reach the mountaintop, but
32 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists last night for Anthony Edwards.
Golly. And that's on a bum knee. 2 bum knees.
Yeah.
Essentially. He's great, dude.
Him coming back as quickly as he did, I think has done wonders for the Timberwolves, right? Because if he didn't come back as quickly as he did, what the initial report was saying maybe game 3, maybe game 4.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. That's what we were talking about last week.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week. But now here you are in a situation where you're down 2-1. Whereas I think if he's coming into this game 3, playing his first game, or if he didn't play in this game 3, and his first game would be game 4 the next time around, then I think you're looking at a Timberwolves who are probably down 0-3 at this point.
It's crazy. And you mentioned last night, he obviously gets in the starting lineup once again for the first time this series because they were kind of easing him back. He played 41 minutes. The first 2 games, though, and they won game 1, remember, he didn't have a crazy impact because he was kind of on a minutes restriction. But in those first 2 games, it's almost a point of I'm just going to be there for my team anyways. Like if you're a random Timberwolves player, if you're Nasri, and you get this devastating news that you might miss your best player, your only chance at winning this series, you might miss him for 3 games.
That can hurt your confidence a lot.
Yeah, you go into game 1 and 2 and 3, and you're like, oh, we're going to lose. Just call it.
Right.
We're tapping. But then Anthony Edwards is like, you know what? I'm going to fight through the pain. I'm going to be out there for my team.
Yeah.
And that gives these guys the confidence that they needed to win game 1. And it didn't go their way in game 2. Game 3 was a really close game. And Anthony Edwards went crazy. And that's why I know San Antonio leads this series. I know that Victor Wembanyama is in the midst of a breakout in his own right. But I would not be surprised if this series goes 7 games. I'll pick the Timberwolves to win the next game. I really will.
I think whoever wins game 4, it will end up winning the series. And I say this because, right, you head into game 4, it's 2-1 now. The Spurs take a 3-1 lead. All you have to do is win 1 more, and you're into the next round for San Antonio. For the Timberwolves, you already have a big confidence boost, right, from getting Anthony Edwards back and having him perform the way that he is, despite not being at 100%. And if you're able to tie it up at 2-2 after game 4, then that's just going to continue to build on that confidence.
Yeah.
And this is a Minnesota team who I think is really, really desperate to get back to that Western Conference championship or Western Conference final.
Yeah, and they deserve. I shouldn't say they deserve to be there, but they have all of the talent to be there. I think they're a better team than San Antonio, but San Antonio is the best player as long as Anthony Edwards is, playing bum. But frankly, last night, was that last night? Yeah, right.
Yeah, they played last night.
I'm getting all my days mixed up.
Spurs and Bulls last night.
Baby crazy right now, But the Anthony Edwards, he went crazy, but he didn't get help from his teammates. Julius Randle sucked last night, and he and McDaniels were in foul trouble.
I think that's the issue with Randle, honestly, is the fact that he has when he has his moments and he's helping and he's contributing, he can be really good. And he can probably help this Minnesota team out a lot. But when you have performances like last night, obviously it's reflected in the final score when you end up losing. And I feel like he's very, very inconsistent and is a little bit of a roller coaster when, his highs are really high and they're really good. And then you have some really, really lows from Julius Randle as well.
It's funny because obviously this team is led by Ant, right? But it's almost like when they make the trade that they did for Julius Randle, they're only going to go as far as he takes them because you're going to get what Anthony Edwards does. You're going to get that as a given every night. But if you have nights like yesterday where Julius Randle he stinks, 3 of 12, 0 of 3 from the field, 6 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 5 fouls, you're not going to win with that. So you got to have better performances from this guy who's supposed to be your second or third best player. But this is a fun series, man, and it stinks that this is the only fun series this round.
I know. The other one, of course, the other game last night, the Knicks and the 76ers. First, massive credit to Knicks fans who showed up in troves, man. to the to Philadelphia for this game. And
You just say shout out?
yeah, well, I mean,
Not
it's
shout out.
not
Shame on the Philadelphia fans.
It's not that far of a drive. It's not that far of a travel, right? From heading from Manhattan or whatever to Philadelphia, and then that was a big storyline heading into this game of the amount of Knicks fans who were just stealing away tickets from the 76ers.
Timothy Chalamet was there, right?
Yeah, Timmy was there, man. Come on.
It's only an hour and 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, actually. I didn't realize it was that close. East Coast, man. That's wild.
I know.
Well, I was going to say, the Mammoth just had their first playoff series, and if there were
a lot
more,
of Mammoth fans in Vegas.
Right, and if there were more Golden Knights fans in Utah than Mammoth fans, then the Mammoth should have packed it up and sent the team back to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how Utah fans are. Utah fans show up. So, yeah, shame on Philadelphia fans for letting New York and Timothy Chalamet invade their team. Was Kylie Jenner there, too?
Do you think? Yeah, she was.
That's where I draw the line. Are you serious?
You can have Timmy there, but not.
Yeah,
not
Timmy's a real fan. But Kylie Jenner?
Yeah, they were both there, man. And there was videos on social media last night of Kylie Jenner walking into the arena late, and then Timmy standing up and getting all smiley and bubbly when she walked into the arena. Yeah, it was kind of nice. But
if I'm a Philadelphia 76er, I'd request a trade right now because that fan base that's terrible. Are you? That makes me mad.
Does the 76er fans realize that they're kind of in a really bad position because the Knicks are surging? Ever since the start of this specific series, right, against the 76ers, they have looked dominant, and that's, I think, credit to Brunson, who I think has been absolutely phenomenal this series for the New York Knicks, and it would not surprise me to see them go 4-0.
Is that because the Knicks are so good, or just because the 76ers suck?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Because they're the 8th seed.
I think it's a little bit of both.
And
to their credit,
excuse me, they're not the 8th seed. Orlando was. They're the 7th seed, right?
But to their credit, man, going in and forcing that Game 7, coming back from 3-1, and forcing that Game 7 against Boston, and then winning that Game 7 to move on to the next round, it looked like the Philadelphia Sixers might have had something cooking with Joel Embiid back and the team looking better. But then Embiid missed, Game 2?
He did return last night for Game 3.
Came back for Game 3, but the conversation we were just having with Ant, with him playing not at 100%, but putting the team on his back, you're not seeing that. I feel like you're not seeing that from Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards was not hurting his team by returning.
Right.
Joel Embiid kind of hurt. He was terrible.
Yeah.
7 of 17, 0 of 4 from 3. He had 3 turnovers. He did have 3 blocks. But nobody on Philly showed it. Kelly Oubre was your leading scorer with 22 points.
Yeah. Also, disappointing on Tyrese Maxey.
Right. That's where I was just going to go. And he only took 12 shots. I mean, he was outshot by Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Kelly Oubre. Oof. In what world should Kelly Oubre Jr. be taking more shots than Tyrese Maxey?
Right.
That's what I mean, man. Boston should have won that series. This would have been a much better matchup if it was New York, Boston.
100% agree. I 100% agree.
And I still have no idea how Boston lost that series.
Yeah. I think the Knicks will go 4-0 in this one. I don't see...
As they should, because Philadelphia is terrible. And if it's Knicks Pistons, that's a really fun matchup because it's all offense versus all defense.
What about Knicks Cavs?
That could be fun. But I don't think the Cavs are getting past Detroit.
Yeah, can the Cavs come back from 2-0?
James Harden might be one of the biggest scams since... I don't know, what was the...
Oh, dang it.
What's the bank scam? That guy that was in jail for defrauding Tom Brady and those guys? Sam Bankman-Fried?
I don't remember.
Yeah, no. James Harden, I cannot believe, has tricked so many teams into trading for him.
I was going to pull
the cherry on top.
I was going to pull that clip of the guy who I can't even remember his name, man. The guy from the Clippers broadcast who's like, I hope you guys are piping this into the locker room right now, and just goes completely in on James Harden. And he's like, hey, James, you're the problem.
Yes.
Because, again, James Harden is the problem for the Cavaliers.
Sam Bankman-Fried, commonly known as SBF, is an American entrepreneur and convicted felon. Founded the FTX cryptocurrency exchange and was celebrated as a poster boy for crypto. And he frauded a bunch of people.
Bunch of celebrities.
So he's up there with James Harden as the biggest scammers of all time.
Again, I wanted to believe in this Cavaliers team, man, but they haven't shown me anything so far in this series, which is crazy too, because I thought the Pistons, with them getting off to a rocky start, I don't know if the Pistons had it in them to make it an Eastern Conference final, but yeah, here they are up 2-0 and looking a lot better than they did to start the NBA playoffs.
Do you think Cleveland is going to blow it up if they lose this series?
Yes. Yes, and I say that only because of the reports that came out right before the playoffs actually started, where there was, the rumblings coming out of the Cleveland Cavaliers and out of Cleveland about Donovan Mitchell and his contract situation. If he didn't sign the extension, if he doesn't want to sign an extension, or if he doesn't sign the extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the report was that the Cavaliers would move on and try to trade him this offseason so he doesn't leave as a free agent.
And keep in mind, Utah has swap rights with Cleveland's 2028 pick, not the 27 pick immediately after, but 28 pick. So theoretically, if the Cavs decide to move on from Donovan Mitchell this year or the year after, that's good news for the Jazz. And they end up looking really, really smart. They already probably maybe look smart for the Donovan Mitchell trade. We'll see how the Jazz do once they get to the playoffs, but it would be so funny if right as the Jazz start to win now and shoot for a championship, that's when Cleveland starts to blow it up, and that's when the Jazz get to reap the benefits from that Donovan Mitchell trade.
It's lining up a little too perfectly for a LeBron return to Cleveland.
And that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
No, it's like, it seems like this has been planned out for years.
Run it back,
the way
man.
that it's the way that it's lining up, and I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I bring that up because obviously the Lakers down 2-0 to the Thunder. They lost on Thursday night, 125-107, and the big question is what's going to happen to LeBron after the end of the season? Does he stay in LA? Does he go to free agency?
I'll tell
Does
you
he
this:
retire?
He's not retiring.
I don't think he's retiring. I don't think anybody really thinks that he's retiring.
Right.
But it is kind of lining up a little bit too nicely where the Cleveland Cavaliers are in a spot where they might have to blow it up this offseason, and LeBron James is a free agent.
I've been saying for 2 years that LeBron's going to go to Cleveland. Golden State is another possibility. We'll see. But even, if he goes to Cleveland, they're going to have to trade Donovan Mitchell because they simply don't have the money to bring in LeBron James.
Which very well could happen.
And similarly to Golden State, but, I don't know. Cleveland is so cash-strapped. That's why the James Harden trade did not make sense at all. It's like that's the move that you think is going to put you over the top, the guy that's never won anything. I don't know.
I think you and I both talked about that wasn't going to be the move.
No, everybody, as soon as Cleveland made that trade, everybody was questioning what the heck they were doing because it made absolutely zero sense unless you look at it from the perspective of, oh, LeBron James wants to play with James Harden in Cleveland. Let's line that up now so LeBron can go there this summer. That's the only way that trade makes sense.
Coming up today, the Pistons and the Cavaliers, Game 3, 1 o'clock. You can catch that on NBC, on KSL5 TV. And does Cleveland find a way to win a game in this series? Can they make a series out of it?
I think Donovan Mitchell's talented enough to win a game or two. I'd be shocked if the Cavaliers got swept. Yeah. But at the same time, this is James Harden is dysfunction personified. And Donovan Mitchell does not deal well with dysfunction, right? So in that sense, I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe they do get swept.
I think they win tonight. Get it back within one and head into Game 4 with a 2-1 deficit for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then also the game tonight, it being the Lakers and the Thunder. That's Game 3 coming up. Thunder leads at 2-0.
There's nothing to say about this.
Potential? Is there any potential for gentleman sweep? Even just the one win for the Lakers?
Maybe, but it doesn't even matter. The only way the Lakers win is if the Thunder decide to rest Shea. Like if they decide to rest all their star players like you see in the NFL, week 17 or week 18, they're like, oh yeah, let's rest Patrick Mahomes before the playoffs.
Yep.
That's the only way the Lakers win this game is if the Thunder decide to rest their stars so they can get healthy before going against the Spurs or the Timberwolves.
Does Luka play at all in this series?
No. That's a mess in itself too, man.
Right. I mean, for everything that we applauded Anthony Edwards for, talking about that Spurs and
Luka's
Timberwolves
the exact
era,
opposite.
The complete opposite.
Because you've got guys...
No timeline for his return.
No, and you've got the whole team wondering, like, where is he?
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite of Anthony Edwards.
The guy that you made a trade for, the guy that everybody was arguing for, him to become the face of the franchise and for him to be, this no longer be LeBron's team and now it be Luka's team, and he disappears in the biggest moments for you.
He never should have left Dallas, bro. And I know it wasn't his decision, but
choice.
Nico Harrison deserves jail time.
We still got to talk NHL playoffs. We still got to touch NHL Lottery, and we'll hit that in 5 minutes of. That's coming up next here on the Saturday show. Don't go anywhere. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is time for 5 minutes of. Still a lot to talk about, not a lot of time left in the program, and so we'll hurry up and quickly hit some topics that we want to talk about. First of all, the NHL Lottery happened this week, and I do find it hilarious, Christian, that after the whole Maple Leafs situation with the reporter just hounding in on the GM and hounding in on the decision to bring in that specific general manager, and then within a couple days you end up getting the number 1 overall pick. Toronto wins the NHL Draft Lottery.
Almost like it was rigged.
Huh. Not to put on my tinfoil hat here or anything, but very interesting.
It is funny, though, that the NHL Lottery is televised. I believe this is the second year that they've televised it.
That's right, yeah.
But it's really cool, man, because you see them do like the air machine with the little ping pong balls that come up with the numbers.
Yes.
And it's like it was down to that last ball, and it was like, okay, if that number is this, or this, then Vancouver wins it. If the number is this, or this, then the Maple Leafs win it, and yada, yada, yada. And not only that, but behind them, they've got like a big screen up on the wall, and they're literally on like a FaceTime call with executives from every single team in the lottery.
That, and they show you like the combinations, right?
Yeah.
They take you through like, hey, if these numbers pop up next, this team's going to win it. If these numbers pop up next, and they give you all the scenarios. They like lay it out there for you. It's in your face. You know exactly what's going on.
And they've got some,
what's
stiff
happening.
Standing there like only muscle that he's moving is just slowly picking up the ping pong ball and showing it to the camera, and then he like crosses his arms and stands there like a statue.
Doesn't say a word.
But it's cool because as soon as the Maple Leafs won the lottery, they immediately get on that FaceTime call with it was Matt Sundin, the senior executive advisor. I don't know if most of the people there were GMs or just executive advisors or whatever, but they immediately got on the call with him and like talked to him about it. Like that's so cool because on the NHL side, for those that don't know, big prospect coming down this year, Gavin McKenna. It's funny because there has been a quote-unquote generational prospect, like 3 of the last 4 drafts. And Gavin McKenna's up there with Bedard and Celebrini, like supposed to be one of the next best young players in the NHL. But anyways, it's just funny knowing that like all the conspiracy stuff is happening with the NBA draft lottery, and then you see the NHL draft lottery. And it's live televised, and there's still conspiracy theories, right?
Right. We're gonna put it all up in your face. But the team who just had a bunch of drama earlier this week, we're gonna give them that whatever pick. I do like that they televise it. I do like that it's like in your face. You get to see the whole process. And for the NBA, if I remember correctly, they release like a video online on social media later with the it gives you a little bit of the look of what happened behind the scenes, but it comes
now
out
they
after,
AI it.
Well, yeah, it comes out after the fact, and the only reason why I remember that is because I remember specifically the look of Justin Zanuck's face with the
I just watched that this morning.
Yeah, with the Washington GM, and I can't remember what other GM it was, but the look of disappointment that they all just gave each other when Dallas is announced as the number one overall pick. Yeah, those come out after the fact. Like, put that out there like the NHL does. Why not?
Do it live.
Why not? Do it for the fans. I'd tune in. I'd watch it. 100%. Absolutely. Connor McDavid is making waves. Connor McDavid is been a big headline this offseason in the NHL, specifically for the fact that he has made it known that he is extremely frustrated with the Edmonton Oilers. In the post-game press conference after they get eliminated by the Anaheim Ducks, he goes to reporters and he says, "We are a very average team. We are average." In the end-of-season press conferences, he takes the podium after Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl says, "Look, this organization as a whole has taken a step back." And then Connor McDavid takes the podium, moments later or whatever, and then essentially says, "I agree with Leon. The organization is taking steps back."
Yeah, I mean, they were back-to-back Stanley Cup in the finals, right? And then they lose in the first round this year. I think that's that's a fact.
And so they're out there, they're making it known. And so now all the rumors are swirling around about the future of Connor McDavid, who is, of course, one of the best, if not the best hockey player in the world at this moment.
Well, and adding fuel to the fire, of course, is he put on social media yesterday or the day before that he didn't put like a tag where he was, but he posted a picture of himself in a kayak or a boat or whatever.
You knew where he was.
And everybody here is like, oh, that's Lake Powell.
You knew where he was.
Yeah, you're in Utah now. And so, of course, everybody's like grasping onto it because, he's taking a vacation in Utah. Guess what? All the NBA players go to Miami every summer. Like, I don't know. It is funny because he's a great player, right? And I think there definitely is a world out there where Connor McDavid requests a trade from Edmonton. And if he does that, should the Utah Mammoth be involved in it? Yeah, so will all 31 other NHL teams because he is presumably the greatest player of this generation. So we'll have to see what that looks like. If you're a Mammoth fan, you would hope that he just makes it to free agency. He's got 2 years left on his deal. He just signed a 2-year extension last summer that kicks in this season. So he will be a free agent in the summer of 2028. I don't know if he is going to wait out that deal or request a trade beforehand if they say they have a first-round exit next year or miss the playoffs altogether. Maybe he just requests a trade and wants to be done. But I hope, from the standpoint of wanting him to come to Utah, I hope he makes it a free agency and Utah can just throw a bunch of money at him. Because if you get into the point where you're in a bidding war with everybody else in the NHL, it's not worth it. I'm sorry. For as good as Connor McDavid is, you're talking about a player that's on the ice for maybe just over a third of the game, right? 25 minutes of 60. And if he can't get it done in Edmonton, what makes you think he's going to get it done in Utah when you have to trade away? You're not going to get him for free.
Right, yeah, you're going to have to trade away the players around him that is going to make the team and make the organization successful.
Yes.
Rather than, and not have, the proper talent around Connor McDavid to make the whole thing work. So how much are you willing to sacrifice? How much are you willing to give up?
We were just talking with Parker before the break, honestly, and so the way that this is lined up right now, with the Mammoth's timeline and McDavid's age and everything right there, I'd say you're willing to give up any of your prospects right now, any combination of your prospects. Speaking of TJ Ginla and Caleb Desnoyers and Cole Baudouin and all those guys and all the future picks that you have, because if you trade for McDavid, if you McTraded for McDavid.
There you go.
Your timeline is now. You're wanting to win a Stanley Cup within the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And your prospects right now aren't going to help you. I draw the line at Cooley. You're not touching Cooley.
Yeah, Logan Cooley's one you can't give up.
Because Cooley's played in the NHL. He's shown that he is on the trajectory of being potentially a top 10, top 15 player in the NHL within the next 3 to 5 years, right? Yeah. And let's just say ballpark percentages. If Cooley continues on this trajectory and he ends up becoming 80% of the player that Connor McDavid is, why would you give up Cooley plus 3 other players and 4 other picks just for that 20% increase, and then your team is depleted? So that's the way I'm looking at it. I know that there are a lot of people out there who would do anything for Connor McDavid, but you got to know where to draw the line.
Connor McDavid called out, or I guess name dropped, a couple of teams in his end of season his end of season availability. He name dropped a couple of teams that I think send a lot of those fan bases into a frenzy because of what was said. And real quick, I want to tap into those comments made by Connor McDavid.
This year felt like there was a big turnover. Those young teams are not young losing teams. They're really good teams with great players. San Jose is the same way. How long before Chicago figures it out? Utah's right there too. So it was a big changeover year, and we got to get going.
So that immediately turned into San Jose fans.
You said who's right up there too?
What's that?
Utah's right up there.
Right,
too.
Utah's right up there too.
Yeah, book it, man.
And so that turned into San Jose fans, Chicago fans, and of course Utah fans jumping into the frenzy of making hypothetical trades of what they would give up and what they would be willing to give up for Connor McDavid, because he specifically named those teams as teams in the Western Conference that are on the rise.
And it is cool to be recognized like that because, we've been saying like the Mammoth are part of, and I totally agree, specifically with San Jose and Anaheim, right? San Jose not in the playoffs this year, but Anaheim was. Yeah. Anaheim's the team that eliminated Edmonton. I think those 3 teams are going to have a really fun rivalry over the next, 5 to 10 years because they're all on the same timeline and they've all been picking right next to each other in the last few drafts. And yeah, the Logan Cooley versus Macklin Celebrini is a rivalry that I've had a lot of fun watching, and it's going to continue for a very long time. So to hear that and be recognized as an up-and-coming team is really cool. But going back to potentially trading for him, it would be cool to hear that he wanted to come to Utah, right? But if you have to give up a bunch of stuff to get him, there's a point where it's not worth it anymore. And I trust that Bill Armstrong would know what that point is, right? But I mean, if they could make it work, man, and you have McDavid and Keller and Gunther and Cooley, you honestly might have to give up Gunther.
I think if there's any viable window, any potential window, even slightly open, I think you have to entertain those conversations and you have to, really put forth and consider putting forth an offer of saying, hey, we can possibly make this happen.
But my bottom line is if you do that, you give up your future for it. You can't walk the line of, okay, we'll give up a couple of our now prospects and a couple of our future prospects. Yeah. If you're making this move for McDavid, you're going all in right now. So you got to hold on to as many of your current players as possible, which means saying goodbye to some of your young, cool prospects that you might be excited to see. And
I'm not saying you have to make it. I'm just saying you at least have to listen and you have to at least put forth something and say, feelers. You have to put some feelers out there and see kind of where it's really at, because I think you're absolutely right. You don't want to completely give away your future. I mean, what was the conversation at the NHL trade deadline, and even in the offseason, right? Cole Bagley said on these airwaves time and time again, you don't want to mortgage out your future. You don't want to give away your future for a win now move, because that's just not the time.
Well, for McDavid, I would.
Yeah,
I would mortgage a future, but again, like you either mortgage your future or not. In the sense that you make the trade or you don't. You can't give up some of your players that are good now while also trying to keep some of your prospects, because then you're just mishmashing the 2 timelines and trying to make that work when you have to go all in or not. So if you're banking on your future prospects, then say, sorry, Connor McDavid, we're not going to trade for you. We'll play against you in the Stanley Cup Finals or to get to the Stanley Cup, but we're good with our young guys. Or you say, you know what, we think adding Connor McDavid to this group that we have right now will guarantee us 1 or 2 or 3 Stanley Cups, and that's worth giving up all of our young prospects. I don't know. And that's the funny thing, as we learn in the NHL, we don't know what these blockbuster trade packages look like, especially for a player of McDavid's caliber, right? So, and then you bring in the bidding war with every other NHL team, and it could get crazy. So, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see We'll see what teams are willing to make trade it for McDavid, man.
There you go. I'm so glad you said it.
Shifting gears real quick to BYU versus USU. Rivalry renewed, Christian. We'll have men's hoops, BYU men's hoops and Utah State men's hoops taking on each other in basketball this upcoming season down there at the Marriott Center, and then in 2 years at a neutral site in Delta Center. BYU avoids the trip to Logan, but the rivalry between Utah State and BYU is coming back.
Two things are true. Number one, you're crazy if you think the Cougars would ever go up to play in Logan.
Yeah.
Nor should they. Number two, the Cougars are scared to go play in Logan. Two
things can be true.
Those are both true.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like that, I said last year, like it would have been really fun to see Utah State play against BYU. Because
this last version of BYU.
Yeah, barely. Because Utah State exceeded expectations, and BYU, frankly, did not meet expectations. Although A.J. DeBonsa was really, really good, I think BYU probably still would have won the game. But having the game down in Provo and then the game at the Delta Center in 2 years, that's going to be so much fun.
Right.
So the first game, I believe, was this December, and that will be in Provo, and then they'll play the year after at the Delta Center. And, yeah, it sucks that the Cougs aren't going to make the trip up to Logan, but, yeah, they'd be crazy to do that.
I do think it's unfortunate, right, because I think I would have loved to see Jared Calhoun's team go up against A.J. DeBonsa, like this version of BYU, right?
Yes, yeah.
But I am also excited because it's going to be a massive test for Ben Jacobson, right? New head coach of Utah State and this new look Aggie team. But also, let's not forget, this is going to be a new look BYU team, right? This isn't the BYU team that you knew this past season. This isn't the BYU there is. I think the only player who's coming back from that starting lineup is Rob Wright. So it is going to be both teams anew heading into the new season, and it'll be fun to watch to see which team comes out on top, because right now with all the change, all the turnover, specifically up there on the coaching staff for Utah State, I'm not sure where to gauge this matchup yet, but I think it'll be fun for this rivalry to return as far as us consuming basketball in the state of Utah.
Yeah, and it's always fun when your local teams play each other, and that's the way it should be, man. I always believe, and they need each other too, to an extent. They need to have some sort of in-state rivalry, whether it's, BYU and Utah obviously playing in the same conference now is cool, and it's great that they get to match up, but, getting to play the Aggies specifically, because they're not Weber State or SUU or UVU or Utah Tech. The Aggies are like a legit NCAA tournament team every single year, so now you're getting to see them, and I think it's gonna be a really great matchup.
I think it will too, and throw on top that Utah State needs some quad one matchups.
Yeah,
you get one with your in-state rival, and I'm excited to see all the fans. I mean, you already saw it this week, right? All the fans going at each other on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram about this matchup, and I'm excited to see the the banter that goes back and forth as we get closer and closer to BYU versus Utah State in men's hoop. All right, we got to take a break. On the other side, we'll wrap things up here on the Saturday show. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. They make it super simple. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with coverage options tailored to your choices. Plus, you'll see which discounts you may qualify for, like the online quote discount or savings for paying in full. In fact, 99% of Progressive Auto customers earn at least one discount. See if you could save when you switch to Progressive. You'll feel good about making a savvy choice. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little extra cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Welcome back into the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Napoles and Christian Esparza. Final segment of today's show. The Delta Center renovations roll on. Yesterday, Ryan Smith put out, the owner of course, the Utah Jazz and the Utah Mammoth, put out a video explaining and giving some in-depth look at the Delta Center renovations and the next steps that they're going to be taking this summer. And I gotta say, man, that's south wall where they're removing the spacing between the tiers, right, of the upper bowl and the lower bowl. They're kind of expanding it, making it kind of their own version of the wall, right, that the Clippers made, as far as having fans just breathing down the visitors' bench.
I love it.
I think that's going to be phenomenal.
My takeaway from the renderings that were released, and you can go find them on social media, but I get they're just renderings and mock-ups, right? But man, this looks like futuristic. Like it looks really cool. It looks incredibly modern.
It does look really, really good.
And I really do think that it's going to like set the bar for arenas across the league. I think of like when the Minnesota Vikings redid their football stadium. That was like a new era of football stadiums for the NFL. And I'm thinking of a similar thing with the Jazz in this arena, and especially with it being a dual purpose facility now. I think the next time that a team that has both NBA and NHL, I think the next time they undergo any sort of renovation, if another team does that down the road, they're going to look at the Utah Jazz and what's happening to the Delta Center and say, we want to do that. Now, it is an incredibly long and drawn-out process over the course of 3 summers, right? Mm-hmm. This is only the second summer, so it's not even the final touches. Hopefully, it will be all finished next summer of 2027. But, yeah, man, it's all looking great. And if it can lead to no more obstructed views, that's good.
I think everybody will be excited for the no more obstructed views for hockey. I'm excited to see the final product, man. And I know we still have a really long process to go through, and I still know we have a really long wait. But just looking at the renderings that were put out yesterday by Ryan Smith, man, it looks phenomenal. And I'm really, really excited to see how the Delta Center looks when it's all said and done. That futuristic feel, that futuristic look that the renderings had, they look amazing.
Real quick before we wrap, I just clicked Spin Draft Lottery one time on the ESPN Draft Simulator.
Oh, what'd you get? Hey, it's the Utah Jazz.
Tune in tomorrow, 1 p.m. Utah Jazz Draft Lottery Show. Ben Anderson, Chandler Holt.
Absolutely.
Hopefully there's some good news, man.
Absolutely. Today's schedule looks like this. The Salt Lake Bees taking on Oklahoma City. That starts at 4:50 on 12:80 a.m. And then you can catch Real Salt Lake at FC Dallas. Pre-match starting at 5:30 on 97.5. And then tomorrow, as Christian just mentioned, 1 o'clock. Everybody tune in. Ben Anderson, Chandler Holt. They'll take you through the NBA Draft Lottery, and we'll see where the Jazz end up. Everybody put out the good vibes. Everybody put out the good juju out into the universe, and let's hope the Jazz have at least a top 3.
Say your prayers tonight. Put some cookies out for Santa. Whatever you got to do, man.
There you go. Hey, if you missed any part of our show today, you can download it anywhere you find your podcasts, the Saturday Show. And then, of course, download the app, and you can take us anywhere you go, and you can tune in to DJ and PK, Scotty G and the coach, and then Jake and Ben. And they'll have, of course, the recap of what happens as well tomorrow. And they'll probably take you anything that happens over the course of the weekend and recap the weekend in sports on Monday. That's going to do it for us here on the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.